Transportation in the FCT has been a nightmare for a while, but it's got a lot worse since the removal of fuel subsidy. How have the people been faring? And what's the update on the compressed natural gas buses that were launched in the FCT not too long ago? Are they operational yet? My guest tells me they are. Well, at least the 4 in his fleet are. All these and more from Nigeria's presidency on this week's episode of Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. Let's begin with an update on the major stories from Nigeria's seat of power.
President Bola Tinubu says the Nigerian soldiers who were slain in Okwuoma community in Delta State last week are heroes and will be granted national honors. He was speaking to the Speaker and leadership of the House of Representatives after the breaking of fast at the State House.
We salute all our men and women in uniform, and we sympathize with them. I will soon make further pronouncements. They must have befitting burial, and they will have national honor.
Governor Sheriff Oborewori of Delta State has met with President Bola Tinubu in the State House to brief him on the incident that led to the killing of 16 soldiers in Okwuoma community, Ughelli South Council area of the state last week. Governor Oborewori, who briefed journalists after the meeting, gave assurances that the perpetrators of the incident will be found.
You know of the happening in Delta State since on the 14th of this month, and it is necessary for me to brief the Commander-in-Chief, and that's what I've come to do, the full details of what happened. Mr. President has assured me that the peace, as in support of the peace. What is happening now is something that we did not bargain for. But we want to assure everybody that there will be no more attack on the villages. If there's anyone that has happened in the past, there will be no attack. But we know that those who are culpable will be brought to book.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu says the All Progressives Congress APC is on the path to victory in the forthcoming gubernatorial elections in Edo State. At a brief ceremony for the presentation of the party's flag to the Edo gubernatorial candidate, Senator Monday Okwebelo, and his running mate, Honorable Dennis Idahosa, at the State House, the president commended the leadership of the party in Edo for resolving the contentions that trailed the primaries.
I am very glad of what you've done as party leaders, putting our house in order. To our candidate, thank you. To the running mate, thank you. We are putting you forward to be able to hold the party in trust for us and get a victory for us.
Also, President Bola Tinubu has met with executives from Meta Platforms Incorporated, promising that his administration is sustaining investments in digital technology to enhance the sustainability of small businesses, expand opportunities across sectors, and propel Nigeria to become the leader of information and communications technology in Africa. Speaking after the meeting, the president of Global Affairs, Meta Platforms Incorporated, Sir Nick Clegg, thanked the president for issuing an executive order that allowed the landing of the Meta-backed deep-sea cable in Nigeria, which will help small businesses in the country.
I've discussed with the minister and with the president whether it's how to enhance connectivity, the connections. Without the infrastructure, people can't use these technologies, which is why we've invested so much in, by far, the world's most powerful and extensive subsea cable to Africa, with 2 landing points here in Nigeria, which wouldn't have happened without the help of the president and his team. That itself will hopefully come on stream in the first quarter of 2025 and will really enhance the connectivity and resilience of digital infrastructure in Nigeria and beyond.
Vice President Kashim Shettima says the economy is on the path of recovery and sustained growth. He was speaking at the State House where cabinet members, service chiefs, and some heads of MDAs had joined President Bola Tinubu and other top government officials for the breaking of fast.
We have crossed the Rubicon and the nation is on a path to sustain growth. Some nations have gone through worse phases in the annals of their history than us. The president means well for the nation. He has a good heart for the nation, and we have a moral imperative to support him in whatever way we can to salvage the ship of the state.
16 state governors have submitted memoranda to the National Economic Council endorsing the establishment of state police. This was made known during the 140th meeting of the council, held virtually and chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima.
We must remain consistent in implementing the initiatives that alleviate the suffering of our citizens and be accountable in doing so. We must also ensure that interventions we deploy are non-discriminatory and favor all stakeholders, with no part of our communities or nation lagging behind.
A mild drama ensued at the Federal High Court, Abuja, as the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, protested his continued detention in the facility of the Department of State Service. He is also alleging that the charges brought against him by the federal government is politically motivated. Mr. Kanu's outburst followed the denial of his bail application by Justice Binta Nyako.
Welcome back. Every cloud has its silver lining. Before fuel subsidy was removed, many people did not even know about compressed natural gas and its ability to substitute petrol. The President Bola Tinubu administration has promised these buses as a solution to one of the biggest fallouts of the removal of fuel subsidy, the exponential rise in the cost of transportation. Recently, we saw the launch of about 40 of these buses in the FCT. And in this report, we talked to residents about how they've been faring with the transport issue and if they've been able to use these CNG options in public transportation. Please watch this. Any type of taxi to take them to their destination. This poor transport situation has been the bane of the existence of the FCT residents for years, leaving everyone you see here vulnerable to one-chance operators, as many of the taxis these residents board are not registered with any transport authorities. Have you ever faced any one-chance operators?
Yes, like 3 times now, from Lugbe to Secretariat. And I have like 2 colleagues who have actually gone through that one-chance stuff, and it's quite dangerous.
The transport situation is becoming worse and worse every day. What we entered yesterday is not where we are entering now. So we don't know how the government will intervene, but we just believe on God, because only God interference can help us in this country.
Coming from Gogolada every day, like in a day I spend like close to 3,000 naira coming from Gogolada down to Mitama, so it's not funny.
Now, it's not drivers. Now, imagine today I went to filling station. I queue for almost 2 hours, 3 hours, and you buy. The petrol station meter is adjusted massively. The DPR should do their work, for God's sake. They should go around. Petrol station, they have adjusted their meter. You want to buy in a can, 4 liter, you pay almost 4,000 naira and it will not be filled up. That is cheating. I'm telling you, in every aspect. I don't understand why cheating is just going on from the top to the down.
Despite the lack of public transportation, security agencies continually warn residents against boarding unregistered taxis to protect themselves from these one-chance operators.
One chance of sitting is what is remaining in the vehicle. That is the one chance. And because people will say, check a vehicle. If you see any vehicle, 3 people already, including a woman, because now they operate with 2 women, including the woman sitting at the back, 3 people already at the back, 2 people are in front. Don't enter. Because there's only one chance that remains, and you are the one chance that is remaining. You understand me? Don't enter. Because if you see a taxi, you will know. They have defective plate numbers. If you check the plate number of those one-chance operators, you see their plate numbers are defective. You cannot easily read it. To open their door, you will see the doors can only be opened from inside, not outside. You understand? And many of them are now maybe golf, some of these small vehicles, they use rubber tint to tint the glasses. After operation, they can remove the tint. In the morning, they will put it back because it's rubber. So all these things, what we said, look out for it.
One chance is not like kidnapping. And like I said, one chance is what we can easily control. I don't subscribe to the fact that people blame security of places for one chance. We need to blame people who are not patient enough to board vehicles. There's no city in Nigeria, there's no big community in Nigeria that doesn't have a registered park. But people take things for granted. They don't want to go to park. We are so lazy to cross pedestrian bridges. We don't do it because we are lazy. And we take things for granted because what happens? No. We violate certain things at our own detriment. You don't need to stand by the roadside and flag down a vehicle, a marked vehicle. You flag down the vehicle, you see, as a young lady, you see almost 4 guys in this vehicle. You are the only female passenger in this vehicle. Yet you don't care. You join them to go. One chance operators, they just watch you. They don't carry arms. It's very rare they carry arms. They leverage on your carelessness, overzealousness. You want to go from Garki, you want to go to Lugbe. What's the big deal about it in waiting or patronize some of these registered parks and garages? The Federal Capital Territory Administration had made an announcement of parks and garages in FCT. How many of us go to that place? Go when you close in the evening, closing at 4, 5, 6, you see people standing by the roadside. Abuja system is very cheap that you can see a cab of anything, you can even negotiate to take you to where you're going to. You cannot do both, you cannot do Uber. So for one chance, it's what we can control. I don't need to be in a rush to enter any vehicle. These vehicles are not marked. They're not painted Abuja number. Abuja has a number, commercial number. Movement, intercity movement is basically for commercial vehicles that have been registered for such a purpose in the Federal Capital Territory.
The federal government believes the solution to this transport problem in the FCT and across the states of the Federation is the provision of CNG buses. Compressed natural gas is mainly composed of methane, compressed to less than 1% of the volume it occupies at standard atmospheric pressure. Projected to cost 250 naira per litre, it provides a cheaper alternative to petrol, which, as a result of the removal of fuel subsidy, costs between 650 and 700 naira per litre, and targets the mass transport scheme for low-income earners. President Tinubu created the Presidential CNG Initiative as a component of the palliative intervention of his administration. Recently, collaboration between the federal government and the private sector culminated in the launch of 40-seater CNG buses at the Eagle Square in Abuja. We went back to the streets to find out if anyone has entered these buses, knows about these buses, or what routes they ply. Have you ever seen the buses anywhere?
None. I've never entered one. I used to come from Lube Airport Road, Federal Housing. I've never seen anything.
Now, the federal government says they've launched some compressed natural gas buses. Have you ever entered them? I heard so, but I've not seen any. I've not seen any yet. I'm yet to see. So if the government has that in place, I think it's a good one. It's a good one.
They launched some buses that are supposed to help alleviate the situation. Have you ever seen those buses anywhere?
Funny enough, when I was coming today, I just saw one empty. I was even trying to stop if it was going to pick me up, you understand? But it was empty and it's just blew up like that.
I've not seen it, I've not seen it, I've seen the gra. The landlord of Abuja, when he came in, he did gra. I don't want to mention names on air, but the landlord of Abuja, when he came, he started buying buses and people were a kind of, okay, it's like they want to relieve. I know of Adama State, the governor of Fintri, kudos for him, is my governor. He bought buses and it's on the use, it's on the road. The transport fare, he brought it down and people are okay with it. But look at Abuja where civil servants are loaded everywhere. The bus, they just park them somewhere. We have other buses, all it's government buses, all they are rusted, they are not in use. For God's sake, if government can, okay, the cars, the buses they bought, and the other old ones, they can put it in order and put it on the road, carry government workers, subsidize the transport fare. It will go a long way to help our citizens.
The federal government says it plans to roll out 56 new compressed natural gas filling stations across all states of the Federation by April of 2025. My guest on the program is Mr. Kingsley Eze, the CEO and co-founder of Niraxi, one of the FCT administration's private sector partners in the CNG public transport space. We learn more about his operations and the challenges they face providing this option to the residents of the FCT. Mr. Kingsley Eze, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a bit about this collaboration with the FCT administration that led to the release of these CNG buses. And are they operational right now?
Yeah, for the two companies that was commissioned as the official BRT operators, Niraxi and Transfer, and we've been allocated routes, and we're currently deploying as we speak. For Niraxi, we're on the Eagle Square to the Zuba route because of our own peculiarities as a company. So that is where we are deploying our own buses.
I'm going to get to how people, can patronize you and how it's been going so far. But explain to me how this collaboration worked with the FCT administration. Did they procure the buses? Did you buy the buses? Where did the buses come from? Those buses do look very familiar. I remember seeing buses like that at Eagle Square. That's why it was a bit of a scandal, wasn't it, on social media, where people were saying, these broken down buses, how are they supposed to help? Talk to us about that collaboration, and are these the same buses?
You had series of buses at that event. You had buses that belonged to Niraxi, you had buses from another private operator, and you had new buses from donated by Ipman, well-wrapped, 100% CNG powered. For us, we had a mixture of, like a bus that is powered by diesel and CNG buses in the works. That's for us. As regards whether those buses are the ones at Eagle Square before, I can't categorically, speak on that. But just know that the FCT administration, they identify the fact that they can't solve the issue of transportation alone. So there's need for partnership with private players like Niraxi, players like Transfer, and any other person that wants to come into the transport business. You meet up with the requirements. You have your documentation, and the current administration, they are up and about and doing. They make sure everything is easy. You meet up with the requirements, and you get your provisional license.
What are the requirements?
Our requirements, obviously, as a corporate entity, you have to be registered. Obviously, your tax clearance, all those regulatory. When it comes to your fleet has to meet a certain requirement, to be able to be deployed in the area of mass transit. So, but what I'm saying here is that they made it very easy for private players to come in, hand in hand to solve the issue of transportation in the FCT.
How many buses are in your fleet?
Currently, we have 4 currently deployed.
For Niraxi?
For Niraxi. Other players, they are coming in with, I don't know the actual number, but for us, we want to use the 4 buses that we have to, test run the market. We are a private player. We have asset companies that provide buses to us. That's our model. We are more of a technological firm that uses technology to connect users. And we have an asset financing arm that provides buses for us to deploy. So we want to test run the Zuba route and see the patronage. We're a business. Yes, we are providing a social benefit to the end users, but at least we want to do that while also maintaining a level of profitability and sustainability for our business model.
So far you've been doing Zuba to Eagle Square?
Yeah, Zuba to Eagle Square.
How many times a day?
Right now we're doing two trips in the morning and 2 trips in the evening. And it will also interest FCT residents that from next week, we're also going to be having the Ramadan Naraxi promo where they get free ride for till the end of Ramadan. So that's our own way of giving back to our users, because we also have another arm, which is the luxury car rental. So profit from there can serve indigent.
So let's talk a bit
Nigerians.
about
Yes.
how people can benefit from this service.
Yes.
Do they pay? Do people pay to enter your buses, and how much does it cost? Because that day I kept seeing a card.
Yeah.
So how does it work?
So on our website, you can request for the Naraxi transit card. The other company also have their own transfer card. So in our own case, we have the Naraxi card. You top up your cards. Trips are priced at 300. 300 from Suba to City Center.
300 naira?
Yes. Because we want...
Well, it is CNG, isn't it?
Yeah, ours is a hybrid of at least we have a CNG component in those buses, mixed with diesel. While we are working on, if it is profitable enough, we'll deploy 100% CNG for that particular
So for
route.
now, you're doing CNG and diesel?
And diesel, yes.
Okay.
So we have that savings of 40%, in terms of our current diesel cost. Diesel is priced at almost 1,600 for 1 liter. So it makes the transport business very, very not so profitable for people like us. But we are there because it's a social need, and as a company, we're passionate about making sure people can have access to affordable transportation.
So talk to us a bit about the transport situation in the FCT and ways that your company can even do more than it is doing right now, and why more companies like yours should come on board.
FCT is a lovely city. It's the state capital. Here should be like the model for other states to copy. So the current transportation infrastructure needs a lot of work, and the current administration is doing their best. Providing, very soon you will see bus shelters, because bus shelters are needed, because people need to have designated places where they can come in for those services. So bus shelters is being provided, is an improvement that we hope. Also, the support needed for companies like ours in the asset financing, which is provision of those assets, which is the buses itself, the taxis itself, is also another area where the government can step in to make it easy for all that are in the business to use these buses, make a profit, pay back, so that way the fleet is ever growing. Because what you notice is companies come in with, even if it's 20 buses, 30 buses, and the assets are depreciating because the purchasing power of the people you are serving is very low. All right? Because if you go around the whole world, New York Metro is always subsidized. So when you are paying $1, the government probably provided 20 cents or 30 cents. So that 30 cents goes to the company that runs the transport infrastructure to be profitable. So behind the scenes, you get access to that service. Government can measure the impact of every fund that they invest in that same system because of technology. There is, tap-to-pay systems. There is passenger count systems. You can monitor it. People have access to the transit card. So it's also a way you can deliver social good to a city like FCT.
I want to thank you very much for making an attempt to speak with us, and good luck with all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Players in the CNG public transport space are hoping that they can get the CNG filling stations promised, as just 2 are functional right now. They're also asking for subsidies as transporters so they can expand their businesses and meet the growing transportation needs in the FCT. Meanwhile, if you are in the CNG public transport space, there are opportunities for you in this FCT administration. Go talk with the Transport Department of the FCT and see how you can be a part of the FCT transport solution. Also, as you heard from my guest, if you want to join the taxi business, you can convert your car to CNG and find out what services you can provide on any of the online transport businesses. See, every cloud has a silver lining. That's Dateline Abuja this week. Please remember to let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handle showing right now on your screens. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.